Hi, my name is Miles. I am a lifelong resident of Brantford. The only time I left is when I went up to go to school, and when I was at school I minored in urban studies, and today I'm going to be doing a Jane's walk because when I was doing my undergrad I had to read a lot of Jane Jacobs for my urban studies courses, and she became a bit of a personal hero of mine with how she envisioned how communities are supposed to be designed from the ground up. How you're supposed to focus more on the street level and human interaction at the street level, mixed-use properties, a lot of the things that I think that we should be doing today. And I would like to kind of use my own town as an example of some things that she might be critical of, as well as some things that she might have some good things to say. So Jane Jacobs was a pretty influential writer in the 1960s, especially when she was her most popular. She lived in New York. She had a lot of writings about the vibrancy of the street level of New York street life, how you have mixed-use buildings, and a lot of emphasis on walkability. One of the things that she wrote about in a special opposition to was expressways and highways, which she thought would divide up communities. When she moved to Toronto, to the Yorkville neighborhood, after her son tried to avoid the draft, she came to Canada. She opposed the Allen Expressway, which was going to divide basically the city of Toronto east and west. It would tear right through the middle of the heart of the city, go down to where Spadina Road is, all the way to the Gardiner Expressway, essentially dividing the downtown in half. Now, we have some examples of that here in town. We have the 403, which does tend to kind of divide the city roughly up to north and south end. I think it's more of a hard divide for those who live in the north end than it is those that live in the south, because a lot of the people, while a lot of people in the north can kind of stay up here, stay in their shopping areas, avoid the downtown, a lot of people in the southern portion do still come up here to go to the Linden Park Mall, as that's the only really large remaining mall we have. So I'm here at something that I'm almost certain that Jane would not appreciate, which is the Linden Park Mall, the shopping center. And one of the reasons for that is she wanted to emphasize a ground-up, community-centered approach to urban living. And what the shopping center represents is a very centralized, top-down enforced type of urbanism, which requires a lot of people from different neighborhoods, in order to get the goods that they want or require, to come to a different part of the town, to leave their neighborhoods, to not invest in local businesses that they should be supporting, as opposed to these giant corporations. It's very, I don't want to say tasteless, but it's very bland. It's very corporate. And I mean, if you can just look here, I mean, obviously you're dealing with a pandemic here, but you're just like large swaths of land wasted because we have to dedicate all that space to the car, because these are not walkable parts of our community. There are sidewalks down Linden, but I mean, per square inch, there is far, far more land dedicated to a car. And Jane wanted to have a more human-centered type of community that was centered around people walking around, supporting their local businesses. And yeah, I mean, there's not really a residential space anywhere near here, which is another thing that she would have been against, because she was very much in favor of mixed-use property. So definitely something that she wouldn't be in favor of. Oh, and there's an expressway right there as well. So for at least several decades, and I would say especially since Brantford hit its economic decline in the 80s and 90s, we've tended to want to dedicate our development to becoming more of a one-trick pony. We've been fine with really any type of growth that we'd be getting, and the only type of really growth that we're being offered here is a bedroom community, suburban style development, which means that we're paving over a lot of farmland in order to build detached housing, which a lot of the time is drastically unaffordable for the people who've grown up here and lived here their entire lives, and is being bought up by folks who sometimes have never even seen the site that they're purchasing. They're either doing it to flip it, so they're speculating. They're using it as an investment vehicle, or they're trying to escape some of the most unaffordable housing on the planet, which is in the Toronto area. So we're building housing that's not even for our own community. It's housing for the sake of growth and for the sake of tax money. So I'm really hard pressed to find a real true blue example of something that Jane would appreciate in the new development that we do. But if you're to go to the old town, if you go to downtown, which I'll take you, I'll show you an example of some of the old and new examples of things that we're doing that Jane might have been a fan of. So one of the best examples of something that Jane might approve of in our fair city here is actually the downtown. The downtown, obviously the oldest portion of the city. These, buildings behind me are meant to kind of simulate that. They're not nearly as old as they look. But I'm sitting here in Harmony Square, and Harmony Square is relatively new, but it is kind of like a anchoring center within the community that is the downtown. It is, home to a lot of concerts, events. It becomes a skating rink when it's cold enough, and it allows for people to walk through, mingle, come here on their lunch. And everything around here you can walk to get to. If I live downtown, I can just go up the hill there and have corner stores that'll cater to my amenities here. There's one of the things that she really liked was mixed use buildings. So as you can see here, you got a post office here, then you got a restaurant. You got a restaurant over here, and on top of that you have a residential space which is overlooking the common space. So this is a perfect example of something that Jane would approve of. And actually over here you got the Y, another communal space, as well as a library, which is a center of learning. And these are all just examples of places that people can just kind of interact on their way to somewhere else. She really did believe in that kind of power of human connection, even just in the kind of like most casual sense. And a lot of the development that we've seen, post downtown economic collapse that we see here is due to the university. Obviously not now, but under normal circumstances, the foot traffic here, especially on a nice day like this, would be pretty insane. There's a lot of people and a lot of different types of people interacting here in the downtown. So I think this is a perfect example of something here in our town that Jane would approve of. So I appreciate you taking the time to go on this journey with me and for getting to the end of it. And hopefully I can do a more polished version next year. Thank you.